Our next step, as I mentioned in the previous video, is to create the faculty table from this relational schema. And unlike with the advising notes, which we created from scratch, we will import faculty table from Excel. So let's switch to Acces and see how we do that. We're back to Microsoft Access, exactly where we left off last time when we were working on the advising notes table. So as you remember, we created the advising notes table from scratch, create table design, and so on. This time we're going to add faculty table, but we are not going to create it from scratch. We're just going to import it from Excel. And this is how we do it. Click on external data, tab in the ribbon at the top. Then on the left, you will see new data source and from file and Excel. And in my case, so a new window pops up. And in my case, it's on the desktop. Let's see if it will not show up here. So I'm going to browse. I'm just going to go up here, desktop, Star Wars, students and advisors. That's the data set. So we have a couple of options here. We can append the data. So we basically add the data to the existing data. For instance, you have 2 years worth of data and you want to add 1 more year. So this is doable by appending the data. We can simply add a link to the data source. But in our case, we just import the data source and create a new table. So click OK. My Excel file contains several worksheets, and we need the faculty worksheet, obviously, because this is what we want to add, and it has 7 faculty members here. So we want to tell Excel here that, yeah, treat the first row as a basically variable name. It tells us the column name. So it doesn't treat F name, L name, office as actual values, but as column names. Next, and here we have an option to basically edit our fields, and they're different, basically customize their properties, but we're not going to do that. We're going to hit finish. And we can save our import steps. If you ever want to reproduce exactly that, then you can do that, but we don't need it here. So here's our table. So as you remember, each table is organized around entity. It contains the entity, unique identifier, and attributes, which is what we see in our entity relationship diagram. So we agreed that we will just name them using capital letters. So that's the first thing we need to do. So that's that. Then double click and we will see our table. So as you can see, Acces created a new column here called ID, and it contains all unique values for each row. So we didn't ask it to do it, but it just adds that automatically. So what we can do is switch to a different view, and here we can this is where we define the fields that will be in our table. As you remember, we used this view, the design view, last time to create from scratch the advising notes table. So this ID, it says auto number here, right click and delete. We remove it. It's going to ask us several times, you sure you want to do that? Yes. We know we have another proper identifier, unique identifier, faculty ID, so we don't need this one. So we get rid of that. And now we're back to our original data without any extra columns. So let's work a little bit with these names and type in description. So this is going to be, instead of fac ID, we're going to make it faculty ID. That may sound a bit better. It's not a number, it's short text, and we're gonna tell make a note here that it's faculty ID from the HR system. So that may be helpful if you want to add some data to the faculty table from the HR system. We can add that data by faculty ID. So there may be additional data stored in the HR system, and we can easily edit and unite it with by faculty ID. So first name. Again, no spaces here, short text. We can, again, limit the number of characters for each of these. We can limit them to, say, 20. Anything that works for you. Faculty first, name, last, name, short text, faculty, last, name. So 20, what did I use last time? 20, 20, 20. Office, short text. And office can be building and room number. Email. Office can be a bit longer. Let's give it 30. Email 20. Again, I'm arbitrarily just changing it for the sake of it. Building and room number. And we can New Albany faculty email. Faculty email. There may be typos here. Acces doesn't check your spelling as well. So we have corrected our field name, data type. One of these was treated as a number, and we added description. And now let's save this table. We made some changes. We need to save it. Right-click, save. Some data may be lost because we changed the size of the fields here from 255 to 30. So if there were entries that were longer than our limit, it's going to cut that off. But we don't have that problem. We know that our entries are much shorter, and we are going to do okay. So that's our table. Actually, design of the table is formatted. Now let's define our primary key, which is we can do this way, or we can go to design and primary key. Select the variable, or I'm sorry, the row, and then hit primary key, or right-click and primary key. So faculty ID, we know that it's a unique identifier, and this is how it was specified in our relational schema. So we know that's going to work. So save, just in case. Now we can. So this defines the main columns in our table. Now we can go to design, view, and view actual data. And here we can see our data sheet. And the purpose right now is basically take a look and see if we have everything what we wanted to have, if everything is organized nicely. I'm doing double click on each of these. And indeed, this is a small table with faculty information, and it contains all the columns that we want, all the fields, and it should be good for us. So saving just in case, and you can close it by clicking on this. Open and close. So this is how you add import a table from Excel. And again, just to tie it back to our relational schema that we began with, now we have imported and formatted this faculty table. We created from scratch our advising nodes. We imported our faculty table, so things begin to shape up. Now what's left is students table, and this one you will have to import on your own from the files provided in the assignments folder. So I hope this video will be a good guide. We basically went through all the main steps, and you should be able to do this table on your own. All right, see you in the next video.